So I didn't know about this till about a week ago. I had found it sort of on YouTube on accident. And I said, well, wait, why is no one saying, oh, Azerbaijan need to respect Armenia as a sovereign nation? And they're doing some genocide shit to the Christians over there too. You know why? Azerbaijan under NATO. So that's why. So despite the fact that they are committing genocide against the Christian population of Armenia, despite the fact that they're killing innocent people, the news fails to say a damn thing about it. Just because, you can't talk about that, They're with NATO now. You feel what I'm saying? That's little Azerbaijan. We can't have the news disrespect them, say they're doing genocide. Not just that, it's because NATO doesn't do genocide. So not only do we want Azerbaijan to look good, but we can't have that on our name, that shit on our name, that we're backing them. Their weapons that they're killing these people with came from us. And they want to act like Armenia is not a sovereign nation because of that. You see that little green part of land? Azerbaijan got that by doing this genocide in Armenia. And the real fuck part is that Armenia has had 2 genocides committed against it, including this one, that the UN and the powers that be have been slow, if not failed entirely, to recognize as a genocide. The first one was involving the Ottomans for the same exact reason. They were persecuted by the Ottoman Empire for this exact same reason during the start of World War I. But because they're with NATO, they can go invade Armenia's sovereignty as much as they want, and it won't make the news. So I hope that first lesson here is clear. NATO invades nation sovereignty, good, doesn't get talked about. Warsaw Pact / Russia / whatever OP4 term you want to use invades nation sovereignty, no good. Makes the news repeatedly on a 24-hour cycle for months. For years, it's all they talk about. You can guarantee at least one time a day, every news station will talk about it. Some will stay stuck talking about it for a whole 24-hour cycle even. And again, Azerbaijan is using this to enforce ethnic cleansing of Christians, meaning they are specifically going into Armenia to kill people who are of the Christian faith, whether they are conscripted in the service, in the military or not. Even women and children. They'll kill babies because they are Christian. When I found this out, I was so mad because I knew why it was once I read Azerbaijan is backed by NATO. I knew exactly what it was. So this made me so much more angry about the war in Ukraine, because their whole thing is, you don't invade another country's sovereignty. What the fuck is Azerbaijan doing? Oh, y'all figured because the Ottomans did it before and they were straight. So y'all didn't even really acknowledge it for almost 100 years till System of a Down came up on stage and started saying y'all sort of had to. Y'all felt like that was okay or something. Anyways, on to part 2. Oh, when Alexei Navalny was charged, what he was charged with was misappropriating, and he was sentenced to 5 years for misappropriating 16 million rubles, about 500,000 US dollars. And that was his controlling charge, right? He was eventually released to house arrest and probation, and that was when he was poisoned and eventually detained again upon returning to Moscow. No, it was the St. Petersburg. He was returning somewhere in Russia. Dude is a YouTuber with awards on here and shit, so I don't know if it had to do with that, but he did a lot of networking. So keep in mind, I believe what I've heard was before the indictment was known to have been over 30-something charges on Donald Trump, that basically a lot of them were financial charges. And I don't think the feds still have a charge or statute for embezzlement, but it's sort of the same thing as campaign finance fraud because it's misappropriating money that you're supposed to use for a campaign for something else. That's campaign finance fraud, whereas embezzlement is misappropriating money and then use it for something else with like a business or anything like that. Keep in mind, I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't even fucking like Trump. I just don't like what's going on in the White House even more so. And I'm a strong believer in America and the American way of life and its values. I'm a strong believer in the Constitution and what's right and what's not supposed to be happening in America. Trump, they told us, was doing all the shit that's not supposed to happen in America. But with Joe Biden, I see the shit myself. It's not someone's putting words in his mouth. So, what are they trying to say Trump did? They're trying to say he misappropriated campaign money. Again, another form of embezzlement to pay hush money to Stormy Daniels. Paying her to hush money to have an affair on its own is not illegal. That's called an NDA. It's a very common practice in Hollywood. It's probably used more by the left than the right, to be honest. So Alexei Navalny, if you remember, embezzled $500,000. Donald Trump embezzled about $130,000. And the difference is that Russia, like a lot of third world and other dictatorship type countries, that's common. That happens over there. That's why people come to America like my father did and his family to not have to deal with that type of shit. Also, it says Donald Trump is basically being indicted on falsifying business records. The point is that both is bad, right? But y'all can't be saying free Alexei Navalny, all this shit, when he did the same exact shit that you're saying Trump did wrong. I mean, as far as what was the main charge. And basically, like, I don't even fucking like Trump. I don't. I never voted for him. But this is so bad, and I thought it was going to be better, to be honest, that I'm like, can we just have that back? Plus, I started realizing as I thought over time, I'm like, but you never heard nothing racist come out of Trump's mouth himself. Some sexist shit maybe, but you never heard nothing racist. You never heard him say that shit about S-hole countries. You never heard him say nothing about, other groups of people and whatnot. You never heard it come out of his mouth directly. It was always the news saying Trump said da-da-da-da. But they could never provide the actual audio or video clip of him saying it. So, think for yourself. I ain't here to support Trump or condone Trump or say Alexei Navalny bad or whatever. I just think it's real fucked up how the media will take two identical situations in two separate categories and say one is terrible and shouldn't be going on and not say shit about the other one or say that the other one's a good thing. And they're the same exact situation in two separate, completely unattached categories. I'm out this bitch, man.